What's up, guys? Welcome back to Pound for Pound House. Arman Tsarukyan versus Charles Oliveira. Let's jump into this. As you guys know, I usually break down the fighters, then give my thoughts and predictions. So, we'll start it off right away with Arman Tsarukyan. He's 27 years old, young guy. He's actually been around for a little bit. He's 21 wins with 3 losses. He's currently on a 3-win streak. Armenian. He is going up obviously against Charles Oliveira. His last fight was very impressive. He took out Beneil Dariush, fairly easy first round KO. And then prior to that, he fought some decent names, and he's actually fought some, I want to say, some pretty big names too. So he's fought Joaquim Silva. He's fought. You know what's funny, actually, before I go on, that canceled bout with Renato Moicano would have been very interesting to see. Aside from that, anyways, he's fought Gamrot. He's fought Matt Frivola. He's fought Islam, who he's lost against. I think his only 3 losses are Mateos, Gamrot, and Islam. Actually, 2 losses in the UFC. Those are the only 2 losses he has in the UFC. Aside from that, he has one in his old organization that he was in. But you know, he's obviously on a run right now, and you know, he's going up somebody who was an ex-champion and who people consider to be one of the best lightweights of all time. I also believe that as well about Charles Oliveira. He's been around since 2019, I think 2019, yeah. So 2019 he came around. He was really young. He was like 20, 21, 22 years old. He fought Islam when he was like 22 years old, so he was super young. And you know, when you look at that fight, a lot of people are like, you know, Islam obviously won, whatever the case is, but I want to say that was like his, just, you know, in the beginning, he got a feel of Islam, he got a feel of what he was, and he's so much more mature now, so much more older, obviously a lot stronger. So those are some key things to take into consideration, you know, for him going into the fights he's going into now. So you know, he fought some high level guys in his early stages, you know, early age of his life, I want to say. So where some guys don't fight high level guys till they're like where he's at now, you know, 27s and 28s, 29s. Well, they don't start fighting at least top 15, top 10 guys. So he fought people like Islam, Mateos, and you know, so he's got some experience there for sure. He's really good at ground game, and his ground game is amazing. He's obviously fought some great grapplers, Gamrot, Islam, and he's went all 5 rounds with them, or 3 rounds with Islam. And you know, he's shown that he can, you know, fight with the best. And recently he's been showing his striking ability. So, you know, he's knocked out Beneil basically with a straight right. And then he's also won against Joaquim Silva. So he's showing his striking as well, which is, you know, he's got that as well there. So I mean, I think he's fairly well rounded. He's a strong individual and scary in every aspect of his game. But he's going up against arguably one of the greatest and one of the most humblest lightweights of all time. And that man is Charles "Du Bronx" Oliveira. Now, he's obviously a veteran. He's been in the game for a very long time. He is going to be 35 years old this year. In October, he's 34 currently. So he is just, you know, right at the prime point where either he, you know, it's kind of make or break right now. He is 5'10". He's got a fairly decent reach. He's had 34 wins and 9 losses, and won no contest. Um, he has fought every single, I don't know, he's fought pretty much, I mean, the list is just insane. If you guys obviously watch MMA, or the people that are watching this clearly watch MMA and follow it very closely, we know Charles Oliveira's resume. His resume is one of the best resumes, if not probably the best resume, when it comes to fighting individuals. Maybe not as far as him, losing or winning, but he's fought every single person for the most part. He's fought basically all the top 5 guys now. And he's fighting Arman Tsarukyan, which is part of that, group. And he's got an amazing ground game as well. He's obviously, a black belt jiu-jitsu, and he is dangerous on the floor. He's known for his submissions, the most submissions in UFC. And he's obviously he's got that, that, what do you call that dog in him. He's got that firefight in him, right? He goes in and he's in your face. He's gonna hound you down and then just jump on you and choke you. It's usually what he does. He's pretty much did that with let's look at his last couple fights, except Beneil, knocked out Beneil. He did that with Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier, Michael Chandler, and Tony Ferguson. Unfortunately, it didn't work out so well with Islam. He was supposed to fight him again. That didn't work out either, which, once again, very unfortunate. But, he was, before Islam, he was, he was on a ridiculous win streak. And he was just tearing through everybody. And then before that, unfortunately, he wasn't, doing so well. It was like 2 wins, 1 win, 2 losses, a loss again after another win. It was just like back and forth. He wasn't really, he was what they were saying quitting, right? But, he's turned around from that and he's just a new man, as he says, illuminated by God. But he's just an amazing fighter. I mean, you just gotta look at his history. The guy been through some of the craziest things, and he comes from the favelas, he's come from the slums, and he's become a superstar, a megastar, probably one of the most loved fighters, and he's just he's an inspiration. The guy's an inspiration. He's a complete inspiration. And I mean, there's not much that else I can say about him that hasn't been said, and everybody knows this about this guy already. He is like the modeled fighter that I would say when you look at people that never back down from anybody, that is willing to fight every single person that comes his way. He's willing to give it his all, and he's just that guy. He's just that guy. Now, the thing is, all this stuff is great. All these things about him, all these amazing things about him. But going back to his fight now that he's going to be having at UFC 300, he's going up against someone that has a similar style to his previous loss. Now, how does that play out? Just jumping back to Arman for a second, or more like a minute or two. Arman, he's improved so much in his game, like I mentioned, and he's shown different sides of his game. And he's primarily, like I said, just like a wrestler, which Charles Oliveira has clearly struggled with. My thing about Arman is that he's gonna be able to probably land on Charles, right? He's might be able to even take down Charles, but is he going to be able to strike with Charles, take him down? Like, say, if he gets knocked down, is he going to be able to get on top of him or try to submit him or try to ground and pound? Is he going to be able to do that? Because now, if you look at Charles Oliveira's previous history, not many people can do that to him. You know, in fact, I can't think of anyone except for Islam. But Islam is obviously the world champion, number one pound for pound, and he's insanely well-rounded. He's been up against the best of the best, and he's made pretty good work of them. He was able to take down Arman. Islam was able to take down Arman, and he was able to take down Charles. Now, the thing is, when Islam fought Charles, he exposed that one thing about Charles. See, Charles, on most of his previous fights, would strike, and what would happen is that he would just get hit because he was going into the fire, and he would just drop on his back and then wait for somebody to try to grapple with him or exchange with him on the ground. And most of the time that didn't work. I mean, like most not work. I mean, say most of the time that didn't happen because people didn't want to go to the ground with him. Even though that has happened in the past, like Paul Felder, who's ground and pound won, but in his most recent fights, I'm talking about since 2017, which was his last loss aside from Islam, he changed up his game and nobody really wanted to go with the ground with him like that. Just so good there, you know what I mean? So I don't really think Arman goes there. I don't think Arman will try to grapple or try to, go on the ground with him and try to do those BJJ exchanges. I don't think so. I don't know, because I think that Oliveira just outmatches him by far in that end, in that part of that realm. Where see, the thing about Islam was, I think Islam was I think Islam is still more well-rounded than Arman. I think he has shown it also in his previous fights and how he's so great at ground and pound grappling, and all those things on the ground. And he's a Sambo champion and all these things. So I think his pedigree is just better, I want to say, compared to Arman's, in my opinion at least. But not discrediting Arman in any sort of way, like he's not some great fighter. I think he's an amazing fighter, and I think that, looking at the fight that he's getting into now, it's going to be such a interesting matchup, and it's going to be just so hard to say hey, for sure Arman is going to win this, or for sure Oliveira is going to win this. I mean, as much as I like both guys, I actually like both guys, and I don't know, it's so hard to say. It's so hard to say that, one way or the other. And even with those odds, I think those odds are I think their odds, Arman is the betting favorite. But, I mean, I could see why, because of his previous performance and, obviously his more recent run that he's been on. But, I don't know. I don't think that's just enough for me personally to say that, he's like a higher betting favorite, or he's a betting favorite in general, because Charles Oliveira has the history. He has all the best fighters under his belt, and he's beaten pretty much majority of them, or all of them except Islam. And I don't know. The thing is, it's going to be so interesting to see, man. It's just such a hard fight to really say this is the guy who's gonna win. It's just really hard to pinpoint it, because there's just it can go so many directions, this fight. And that's what's amazing about this fight. This fight is going to be a banger. But I don't think it goes past the 3 rounds. I don't think it goes up to the 3 rounds. I think it doesn't. I think they probably finishes within the first. That's my thought on this. I think that this fight doesn't go past. At best, doesn't go past second. I mean, at least that's how I feel about it. I feel like it might even be the first. The first round might be the fight that, or might be the round where everything gets done. And I just don't know who, and it's hard to say. Now, if I have to give a pick, just to give a pick, who do I really go with? I'm gonna say I'm gonna say do Bronx, man. I'm gonna say do Bronx. Because just looking at the history, looking at how many amazing fights he's had, looking at all the people he's fought, and the reason why I also say this is because I feel like Oliveira might also improve his wrestling and grappling in this time. Especially his last fight was against Benil in 2023 back in June. So it's been like, it's going to be almost a year since he last fought, or like close to a year, right? It's going to be like 2 months from a year. So it's going to be a long time. So I feel like he's been sitting back and improving his game a lot, especially because he was preparing for Islam. That didn't work out because of the cut. But I think that he's going to prepare for the grappling because he's obviously watching Arman, and he's going to be preparing for the potential power coming his way. Young guy, hungry, strong. He's shorter, so he's obviously going to pack a lot more punch. So I'm sure he's thinking of that, all of that. But then again, every time I think that way about Charles, he goes in and he just stands in front of your face and just strikes, and then he goes back to his like roots of what he usually does. So, but I'm hoping this time this is what he's doing. Because Arman's gonna go and try to knock him out. That's how I feel. Arman's gonna try to go and knock him out, but I don't know if he's gonna go to the ground, because he's gonna be able to hit him, but I don't know if he's gonna be able to go on those exchanges on the ground with him. That's where Arman loses me, and that's why I'm not 100% sure if Arman is the winner for this. So yeah, that's really where I'm at with this. I would say Charles Oliveira, either first or second round submission. Definitely not a TKO. Definitely not a KO. I don't see that ever happen. I don't see that happening, to be honest. Arman's got a chin on him, so I don't think he's going to be somebody that's going to get put away. Definitely something in the lines of submission. I don't think it goes 3 rounds, honestly. And that's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. I mean, I can't wait for 300. 300 is going to be amazing. It's a stacked card. It has an insane amount of ex-champions on there and champions. So this is going to be very, very interesting. Probably one of the best fights on the card. So can't wait to see it. Let me know what you guys think. Put your thoughts in the comments below. Do you guys agree? Do you guys disagree? Who do you guys have for UFC 300? And who do you think this person, whoever wins this fight, do you think this person should be the next for a title shot? So yeah, leave your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hey guys, thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like this video. Also, if you're enjoying the content, please consider subscribing, and don't forget to hit the bell icon so you can see all the new videos I upload.